All right. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're really glad for anybody that's here. If you weren't able to attend and you received this recording, thank you for registering. My name is Blythe. I'm the marketing manager for Guardian Inspection Payments. And title of this webinar today is Earn More, Risk Less. And we're going to talk about how to increase earnings and client referrals with Guardian Pay at Close. And so I'm just going to start with some introductions. So we've got three different people that will be speaking on the webinar today. First is going to be Ben Tolman. Ben is the co-founder of Guardian Inspection Payments. Guardian was founded over 20 years ago. We exclusively serve the home inspection industry, a variety of different payment processing. Then he's going to do our overview of Pay at Close and run down how it works for everybody. Then we have two home inspectors with us today. We're really grateful to have them both here. First is going to be Corey Poole. Corey is a home inspector out of Ocala, Florida. He's got a 6-inspector home inspection company. And then we've got Mike McFadden, also a home inspector and owner of Hero Inspection Services that services the Orlando area. Also has a 6-inspector home inspection business. And both of these guys have been using Guardian Pay at Close with us for quite some time now. They've had a lot of success with it. So as we go on, they are going to be sharing how it's working well for them, what they're doing to make it work well for them. And we will also open up with a live Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid to shout them out, and all of us will chip in to help get them answered. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ben Tolman to kind of dive into some Florida specific things and then go over Guardian Pay at Close.
So I really just appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day-to-day to talk to us about something that we're super passionate about, and that's helping home inspectors make more money. Again, I just want to say thanks to Corey and Mike for joining us and providing some specific, Florida market references into what we'll be talking about today. As we do these webinars across the country, we try to make it relevant to the market that we're talking to. And it looks like right now in the Florida market, prices look to be holding pretty strong. 3 Florida cities are ranking in the top 10 of the most overpriced housing markets. So anybody live in Fort Myers, Lakeland, or Tampa, you might be feeling it just a little bit, or maybe you're excited about your home prices. But I know here in Idaho, Boise, where I live, a few months ago, we were rated the most unaffordable place to live in the United States because our home prices had just soared through the roof, but we just don't have the jobs, to support those home prices. So, but things seem to be settling down a little bit. They seem to be slowing here, and obviously not so much in Florida, but so as you know, slowdowns as far as prices are concerned are a good thing. Usually means less inspections getting waived. Corey, Mike, either one of you have any insights into what things look like in Florida right now? Do you want to share with us?
Well, I think here in Ocala, especially, and I think throughout Florida, we had that huge wave of inspections where people would, be 15 or 20 offers on a home within a day or two. And people were so desperate to get the house, they were willing to, do out of the box kind of things with the offers and so forth. And I was finding that a lot of inspections were getting waived as part of the, we're the best person to buy your house. We're not even doing an inspection. Some of the realtors were actually even telling their clients, of course, also making them sign the disclosure, but saying, look, if you want to get this, waiving the inspection is a way you can get it. So I've seen that slow down dramatically in the last 30 days. I've seen houses stay on the market a lot longer, even in my own neighborhood. And I've also seen the inspection periods go up. I mean, they were down, even when there was an inspection, down to 2 or 3 days. And now I'm seeing the 7 to 10, really more 7 come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I think all of the markets seem to be settling, just a little bit, but, at the end of the day, we're still in a seller's market, and which means less overall transactions. And so we need to take advantage of making the most amount possible on every inspection available to us. So I'm going to go over, our product, Guardian Pay at Close, and how that is helping home inspectors do that, make more money on every inspection that they have an opportunity to perform. So, at Guardian, we've been helping home inspectors for, like Blythe said, for more than 20 years. And during that time, we've been asked over and over how we could use credit card processing to help inspectors who are already doing pay at close. It was something that they were constantly being asked for by realtors, but they absolutely hated it. It takes forever to get paid. If the closing falls through, they're left having to chase down payments and chase down customers. All of the record keeping and following up with with closing companies, it was just a pain. In some states, actually, you're not even supposed to do it because if the inspection payment is tied to the house closing, then it's against association and state rules. And so we set out to solve that problem. And that's what we think that we've done. At this point, we've built a completely automated system within ISN. When you book a customer for an inspection, they're presented GPAC as a payment option along with all of the other payment options that you currently offer. They sign an agreement with Guardian, who's now the one who's in charge of taking care of the payments. They enter a credit card as a backup payment so that if the transaction doesn't close, that we're able to easily bill them for the transaction. And if they have the closing company information, they're given the opportunity to enter that information right in the checkout process. But if they don't, they just click a little button that says, contact my agent for this information, and then Guardian takes over gathering up all of that information so that we can take care of the closing, moving the transaction to closing. As soon as you do the inspection, you're paid right up front. Doesn't matter whether the transaction actually makes it to close, you stay paid. Once you're funded for that transaction, there's absolutely no clawbacks. Guardian takes care of all the back end tracking of the transactions, reaching out to the closing companies, gathering the payments from the closing after the transaction closes. So all of this makes home inspectors more money. So how does it make you more money, you ask? So because you're giving the customer a buy now, pay later option, they're more willing to take advantage of ancillary services that you offer. So we ran some numbers. Currently, the last numbers that we ran, 24% average increase in inspection invoices for transactions that are using GPAC. Some inspectors as high as 100% increase on their transactions. That equates to an average of $124 increase on the average inspection invoice. Some inspections almost as much as $200. And what that turns into for the average guy is almost $2,800 in additional income because they ran their transactions through pay at close. We have some inspectors over that 2-month period of time who made as much as $30,000 extra by using GPAC as the form of payment. And as an added benefit, all of the transactions that go through GPAC don't have a credit card processing fee. So that's not even actually included in that $2,800 that we're talking about. So there's additional revenue that we're talking about because we're avoiding some fees. So how does that all happen? How do we make sure that people want to take part in pay at close? Because traditionally, guys who had been offering pay at close would do it, but they would charge for that service. If I have to go through all of these, jump through these hoops and track everything and worry about collecting funds after the fact, I'm going to charge $100 for somebody to take advantage of pay at close. So what we've done is figured out a way where you would just offset that fee by increasing the price on 100% of your transactions by a small increment of $14 on average. And so far we've had zero pushback from any home buyers, any inspectors, everyone is reporting back that there is no pushback for that very minor price increase across the board. So how does this look? So what we've done is a pay at close, Guardian Pay at Close transaction is $75 per transaction. However, like I mentioned, we've developed that method for offsetting that. So if, for example, if we take 10 inspections and we have a 20% adoption rate, meaning 2 out of those 10 people are going to choose to pay with Pay at Close. Those 10 inspections, we increased the price by $13. That's an extra $130 in income on all of those transactions. The 20% or 2 transactions that took advantage of Pay at Close, we have a $75 cost or $150 total for those 2 transactions. And then the 2 transactions that, again, were paid with Pay at Close, they don't have a credit card processing fee, so we've got an additional $20. So we have $150 in extra revenue, $150 in expenses. So if that's all we did, at the end of the day, we were able to offer Pay at Close as a form of payment, and it cost us nothing to offer that as a form of payment, which there's inspectors out there today who are looking at that as a viable solution. If I can walk into a realtor's office and show them that I'm now doing Pay at Close, just as an actual live example, Aaron, my partner, is at the super conference today, and he just had an individual sit down with him, go over Pay at Close, and he was a little skeptical about offering Pay at Close. So right then and there, he went into his ISN and he sent out 800 emails to all of the different agents that he works with. And within 2 minutes, he had an agent reply back to him. It was an agent that he lost almost 2 years ago. One of his largest agents that he had replied back to him and said, "This is a game changer. I'm absolutely interested in this product." And so even if we were doing nothing but just offsetting the fees through this method, it would be worth it to be able to bring on all of these new agents. But the beauty of this product is that's not where it stops. So if we go back to that previous slide, we'd see that the average guy is making $125 extra per inspection that's using GPAC. So on these 10 transactions, that's an extra $250 in that guy's pocket because he used Pay at Close as a form of payment. So, we provide you with everything that you need to be successful with GPAC. We have printed and digital material for your agents, for your buyer's agents, for your seller's agents. Again, if you're looking to pick up additional agents, this is a great product to be reaching out to seller agents for giving them the opportunity to be aware of it to offer to their clients. Most markets are familiar with appraisals being paid for at closing, and because of that, appraisal prices have soared over the past 15 years because the transaction is paid for at closing. So the conversation around the price of the appraisal just isn't happening, and that's what our end goal is for Guardian Pay at Close. The more that we can get an inspection to be paid for at closing, the less the conversation is going to be directed to pricing. I tell people all the time, we've been working with home inspectors for 20 years now. And when we started working, we see all of the transactions that come through in credit card processing, and we know the averages. We can look at them across the country and really pinpoint them. But at the end of the day, the average transactions 20 years ago was $410 for a home inspector. And today it's $440. That dollar amount should be $800 plus, right? And that's what's happened in the appraisal industry as those transactions, that pricing conversation goes away. And that's what we're really shooting for, is getting that pricing conversation to become a thing of the past and really help inspectors, make more money on every transaction. It's just super exciting. So that's really a brief overview of the product. But the exciting stuff is, we want to talk to Mike and Corey and ask them a few questions about, what they've seen as they've used the product. So we have a few specific questions that we want to present to each one of them. And then we'll again open it up to each of you as attendees to ask some questions if we haven't answered them all. So we'll start with maybe Corey. We'll start with you. How are you promoting GPAC to agents and home buyers currently?
So the first thing I did was I had to laugh when you told me about the email on ISN. As I sent an email to all of our agents on ISN, and I've used the mass email feature quite often, so I'm familiar with the lack of return rate that is usually comes along with that. And I have to tell you, I was shocked by the number of agents who, one, I didn't know, two, who I did know, and three, the overwhelming curiosity about it. I had emails from agents saying, "I'm going to put you on my list of agents now." I had actually some agents ask me to call them. Had some agents ask me to provide them with collateral material. So I was surprised because I'm a skeptic. I believe in trust but verify. But when I sent that out, I got the highest, return that I had ever gotten as far as interest goes. So that was the first thing I did. The second thing we did was we actually, the brochures that you guys provide are really high quality, high class. So we started to visit some of our realtors. It gave us another reason to go back to the offices and, not just for the same old reasons, leaving them with the pay at close information, talking to them about it. We really have also featured it very heavily on our website. If you go to our website, you'll see that it's right on the front landing page. It's got its own section where it explains it. And then the third thing we did was we do a lot of presentations. I have one next Tuesday with our 32 realtors at our local realty association, and it's nice because I'm not giving the same old home inspector spiel. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're all good home inspectors. We're all members of InterNACHI. We do this, we do that. We have all these licenses. But I'm excited now because I get to talk about pay at close, which is a completely new, different, and honestly exciting idea. So, and in some of these presentations that I've done, it's gone from the realtors looking at their phone, waiting for me to get done with my 5 minutes, to them actually asking questions and saying, well, this is great, because all the people we do business with, and I'm sure the same is for Mike, are ethical realtors who want their customers to get a home inspection because they rely on referrals like we do. And so, talking them into a $500, $600, $700, $800 inspection in this economy is sometimes hard. And now they have a solution for it. And one realtor in particular used that exact verbiage. She goes, "Corey, she goes, I know sometimes I don't agree with your inspections," she said, "but I want my customers to have them because they're valuable. And this gives me the opportunity when they say, well, I don't really have the money, to kind of say, well, you can put it off to closing." So those are kind of the things we're doing right now. And, they seem to be working.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I have a similar response. Hero is a little bit different. We don't do a lot of presentations, and we don't stop by a lot of real estate offices. Not intentionally, but life is busy, and all my inspectors are busy inspecting, and we've got multiple businesses and such. But one advantage it has created that I see, similar to Corey, is that we do get incredible feedback from, like we do mainly social media posts. And so I get a lot of messages like, with real estate agents asking about, is that real? Like, you guys really, accept payments? Because it is so new and it is very exciting. I certainly think that it is something that is definitely desired by everyone in the transaction, whether it's the buyer or the agent or whatever. But we're getting incredible feedback. It's I was really impressed. I'm like Corey. I'm skeptical. Trust but verify. We have a lot of programs that are presented to us as inspectors in the industry that we can take advantage of. And I'm so skeptical that I don't partake in a lot of them. But this was one that I really looked into, and the process has really been impressive between ISN's integration with Guardian, and I use a call center team from ACC. They've done a tremendous job. So it's really been really easy implementation. So overall, I've been really satisfied. But we do get a lot of great feedback, and people are curious about how such an amazing service can actually be provided. So we're very happy.
I love what you both said about, showing pay at close right up front, like on your website and through social media and whatnot. We've been, in credit card processing for years. People are right up front. They know going into the transaction what their payment options that are available to them are, right? And so it's the same thing as presenting Visa, MasterCard logos on your website and on your trucks and things like that. When you present that to the customer right up front and they know, oh, I know I can pay with credit card, or, oh, I know that I can push this transaction to closing, the more this process becomes familiar to people, the more likely, again, that they are to hear what you have to present to them about, hey, you need to get a radon or a mold inspection or a sewer scope. They've already made those decisions in their mind about how much money they've got, how much cash is in their pocket. And so giving them that right up front option makes a ton of sense. Mike, what's the biggest benefit that you feel like you're getting from enrolling in GPAC?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, not that we're focused on servicing our clients, and we want to give them a good product, but the bottom line is that we're in business to make money. So was my first concern with this. Is it really going to increase our average inspection fee? And hands down, it has. We are. You just showed all those statistics. We are on the higher end of those stats. It really does work. So I've been really impressed with that and happy. With the increased, inspection fee. We, in my market, we are one of the higher inspection higher fee, or we charge more than average inspectors in our market. So that is something that we were always combating. Like, well, so-and-so is going to do it for, half the price of you and all that. And I think we all deal with that in all of our markets. But when you have an offer for them to pay at close, it really shifts their mindset. They're like, oh my gosh, I can wait. So then they're not afraid to add on the mold testing. They're not afraid to add on all the ancillary services that you offer. And that's when you just see the ticket prices skyrocket. And what that really means is that they're getting a better product. Buyers, I think they all want their home tested for mold. They all want, if radon is applicable, they all want that. They all want to know everything, but they're, it's the money that deters them, because they're afraid, they're going to waste money or whatever, whoever is whispering in their ears. And you just kind of steer them away from focusing on the money, and you steer them towards getting the product that they desire.
Yeah, I love it. How about you, Corey?
I guess I'll reiterate what Mike said. Yeah, we're not the cheapest. I always say you can have a good inspection or a cheap inspection, but you can't have both. And I'm okay with being higher. We actually added $25 to our inspection fee to cover the pay at close. And the way I look at it is, because I think, when you say $75, initially it sounds like a lot. But if you think about it, if I got 3 people calling in, the first one decides not to do it, they still pay the $25. The second one decides not to do it, they still pay the $25. The third one does it, pay at close has now cost me nothing, because I've gotten $25 more for each one. But just to put that into real numbers, because again, I just like to deal in the facts. In a 3-month period, from June, July, and August, with the $25 uptick, we did an additional $9,475 in net profit. And I like to talk about net profit, because I know my dad started this business, and as much as I love my dad, he would walk around saying how many inspections he did. I'm not interested in how many inspections we did, because you can't take inspections or you can't take gross to the bank. The only thing the bank cashes is net. So net numbers from the $25 increase, $9,475. Not one person has said anything. On top of that, our pay at close transactions have been up 66.49% over our non-pay at close. That average is $333.83. And that's like Mike said. We had an inspection this morning. It should have been a $400 or $500 inspection. It ended up being a $1,240 inspection, because they got what they needed. They got both of the insurance inspections. They got the mold. The guy wasn't headed in that direction, but we were able to get him there. And like Mike said, when you're buying the biggest investment of your life, you want all of the inspections. Most interestingly, too, so I've got $94.75 just on the $25. The money that we've made net off of the 66% increase in 3 months. And remember, we just started in June, so it was a little bit of a slow roll there in June. added another $14,230 to our bottom line. On top of that, not paying credit card fees on that added $1,061. That almost puts me at $25,000 over 3 months. And our penetration rate, I think you guys call it something else, penetration rate is only 11%, which is miserable. We should be at 30%, and we will be. We just need time. But if I took exactly what we've done in the last 3 months and I annualized it, that's $104,000 more in net profit right to the bottom line. Those are real numbers. That's a lot of money. And again, like I said, I like to just deal in facts. Those are the facts. And like I said, I can't wait to see what it's going to do. In fact, I had called Blythe and said, look, you guys are sending me all these brochures. They're great, but I'm going through them like water. I need another 500 of them. I ordered them because, I know that we can be at 30%, and 30% realistically to me represents $300,000 a year in net income. Yeah, these are not small numbers. Again, the $75 kind of threw me in the beginning, but when we raised it to 25, nobody said anything. I think that's the biggest issue we have in this business, and I'm also guilty of it, is we underestimate our services and what they're worth. And we can't compete against, the guy who's charging $200 for a home inspection. We're going to be here for a long time. We've invested in our people. We've invested in our business. It's if you want the cheapest guy, I've got his number. I can give it to you. But it's not going to be the best inspection. So I know that's kind of a long answer to a short question, but actually I don't think it is, because I think, $25,000 over 3 months is a huge benefit.
Yeah. No, I love that, because normally, right, somebody says, what do I got to do to make $300,000 extra? The answer is go do more inspections, right?
Yes.
And the numbers that you just gave were on the inspections that you're doing today, right? We just made more. So we call it adoption rate. I really like penetration, but that is a fact of the that we're talking about here, is that you just made more money on the inspections that you're doing today, and that's what it's all about, is not having to go out and work harder per se and do more inspections to make more money. So you, Corey, you increased your price $25 to offset pay at close, and it sounded like no pushback whatsoever. Is that what I heard you say? Yeah, exactly. And so, and at an 11% adoption rate, that's way more than what is actually necessary to offset the $75 per transaction. So again, Corey at this point has more than compensated for any pay at close transactions. Mike, on your side, any pushback on price increase to offset pay at close?
Well, that's what's interesting. So I didn't do a price increase. I think by default you would think that you should, and I think that was recommended by you guys to do that, but I chose not to. So my adoption rate is actually 22% or so. So what that means, because I'm not charging for it, more people are signing up for it, or perhaps, I guess, calculation, but we are getting a higher adoption rate. So we are seeing seemingly slightly better numbers than Corey. And I don't say that to compete with Corey. I just mean for other inspectors to evaluate, how they want to handle it. So me, without increasing our inspection rate, we are seeing a higher adoption rate, which means we're getting that higher dollar amount per transaction more often. So you just have to plug and play and see what works best for you in your market. But we've seen great numbers based off without even raising our prices. So we certainly aren't getting kickback for it.
Yeah. And just to clarify for everybody, that price increase is not something that's being shown to the customer. So the way that the system is built is we add that in the back end of ISN, and it just, when a transaction is processed through ISN that qualifies as a transaction that could use Guardian Pay at Close, it adds that dollar amount on to the invoice, but it's not showing that to the customer. So as far as the customer is concerned, there is no price increase at all. That's just the price that's being charged. It's just that, again, like everybody has said, we're all, everybody's competing against other inspectors in the market who might be offering a lower price, but that just it's negated by the fact that you're giving them that opportunity to pay at close. So it is a hidden fee though, as far as the customer is concerned.
And trust me, now hearing Corey's $25 add-on, I definitely want to try that and see if my adoption rate stays strong, because it's that's what's neat about having this network. Corey and I can talk and kind of see what he's doing, and we can really take advantage of this program.
No, and I tell you, Mike's my hero too. He doesn't know, but I've been, since I found out that he was doing pay at close, I've been, looking at his website and looking at his Google reviews. I mean, the number of Google reviews he has at 5.0.
Oh,
Thank
we
you.
just lost Corey.
I'm actually jealous. You guys have done an amazing job of, I told my guys today, I said, look, we've got to get, we've been in business longer than them, and they've got like 250 more Google reviews. So we're doing something wrong. I said, I'll touch base with Mike probably next week to find out what it is. But the other thing is Mike has some really great posts as well. If you go to his Facebook page, I actually sent my web people, Mike, if you don't mind, over to see yours, because mine are kind of bland and yours are kind of cutting edge, and I've enjoyed.
Well, thank you for that.
So.
Yeah, I love it. So as a final question to both of you, what's the best advice that you could offer somebody in the Florida market who's thinking about, who hasn't quite been ready to commit yet, thinking about signing up for Guardian Pay at Close?
For me, if you don't mind, I go first. It would be that, and this is just advice in general to all inspectors, not that I have all the answers and not that I run a perfect operation, but I'm a true believer of looking at the average inspection fee. I don't nickel and dime each inspection in itself. So I do believe in looking at averages. And that's where, if you are nickel and dime, if you're like, oh, I can't believe we lost $3 because we typed in the price for a pool add-on wrong. If you're thinking like that, then you're going to struggle with that $75 pay at close fee. But if you look at it, if you step back and look at all the numbers, it really does work out, and it is increasing your bottom dollar. So my advice would be to certainly don't get lost on the fee that you're going to have to pay. It's really looking at all the benefits that will come with it. Because if you're slower, we don't struggle with being slow, but if you are slower, it potentially will bring in more inspections. If you don't have a lot of relationships with real estate agents, potentially bring you more relationships, more money, fill up your calendar. There's just a tremendous amount of benefits, and the process has been pretty smooth implementing this. It's a click of a button, and Blythe is a rock star, and she gets everything set up, and we've got awesome T-shirts that we wear and all sorts of stuff. It's a really smooth process. With any new program, there's always small little kinks that I think we've worked through a lot. But overall, I'm very pleased. My just number one advice would be not to focus on that charge.
Appreciate it. How about you, Corey?
I would say just try it. I actually, I'll be honest with you, I was not with Guardian. I was with someone else. And I was having some problems with them because we do a lot of horse farms, and some of these horse farms, the inspection fee can be $10, $11, $12, $15,000. I mean, you've got, $12 million farm, 500 acres. They were holding my money. They were claiming, it was this and that, and they fraud and yada, yada. So when I heard about pay at close, I knew it was something I wanted to try. And I came over to Guardian and had no problems with funding. My funding has been next day on every single transaction, even those big farms. The pricing is where it needs to be. Had an issue this today. I called customer service, no issues. I would say try it. I mean, there really is there's nothing that in my opinion, and I always tell inspectors is if you come across something good, please call me. Because like Mike said, I don't know everything, but I do know this works. The numbers show it works. The numbers prove it works. And, try it for 3 or 4 months. And if it doesn't work, then, I say, let's sit down and talk. But I think to reiterate what Mike said, my biggest concern was the $75. And I thought, how in the heck am I going to justify that on, let's say, a $500 inspection? And the other thing is, in the back of my mind, there's that voice saying, Corey, you can't raise your price. You can't. And I think we all get into that. We can't raise our price. We're too high already. We had actually raised it $14, and then I use ACC as well. the office manager there convinced me to raise it to 25. And I said, no, there's just no way we're going to get I'm telling you, not even a blink. I mean, nobody's noticed it. Nobody's said anything about it. And it's really, again, I think if I could just reiterate, even though I know it's simplistic, remember, all you have to have is 3 inspections. Even if the first 2 people don't do it and the third one does, you've already paid for it. But that's not even where the money is. You've got the money on the back end by not paying the credit card fees. And the inspection this morning is a perfect example. The $400 or $500 inspection turning into a $1,200. And and I'm sure Mike does too, example after example of that. In fact, poor Ben and Aaron are probably screaming because I keep bumping over the 2,000 and then having to send apology emails. But that's actually a true statement. I'm bumping over the $2,000 on inspections, and they've been gracious enough to pay them so far. I'm waiting for the email that says we're not going to pay it anymore. But again, if you have questions, I would say please reach out to us. I'm happy to share my numbers with you, just because I like to be transparent. And again, if it works, it works, and this definitely works. So I would encourage you to at least try it, especially in this economy. As you're noticing, people are becoming more and more hesitant about spending money. I'm seeing people, back to when the recession started, getting, well, can you not hit my credit card till that day and this and that. So I think this is the perfect time to offer this as well, as people are, more, money is tight, interest rates are higher, and people know they need to get an inspection, but don't necessarily want to do it. And the pay at close I think it takes a lot of pressure off of them to do the right thing, which is, get the inspections you need for your family.
Such great points. We really appreciate you guys answering those questions. And now we just want to open it up to any of the attendees who want to throw, I believe, so there's not a way for us to mic up everybody kind of a thing. So any questions have to be presented in the chat. But if anybody's got any questions they want to throw at us, throw them in the chat now. And I can see Leanne and Blythe have been chatting a little bit about some questions, and just, it is a brand new product, and Leanne, we really appreciate you, working with us, and Mike and Corey and all of our early adopters on Pay at Close as we built the product and we continue to build it out. And we just, we feel like, pretty much every week we're introducing something new, and the product just keeps getting better and more streamlined. But we really appreciate everybody who's been working with us so far.
No, you put more people on, and I believe I talked to Gigi today, who responded to me literally via email within 5 minutes, took care of my problem. Leanne, the point do you mind if I address Leanne's issue?
No, go ahead.
So Gigi is now taking care of that and removing the pack, because I have that same issue. They signed up for Pay at Close. It's past the 7 p.m. deadline. And what do? Because you've got to email Guardian to have them take it out. If you actually change the date of the inspection, I do it 2 days forward. Do it 2 days forward, go back in to ISN, refresh it, take Pay at Close out, refresh it, put it back, you've taken care of the problem. You actually don't even need to email Guardian. That's just a quick workaround. I know, like Ben said, they have come a long way, and I will give them credit, because I'm sometimes not the easiest person to get along with when it comes to my business. We had some hiccups, and I called poor Blythe. Everything is moving.
The internet gave out just at the right time.
Yeah, I think.
Ben, and I apologize. We're actually having horrible storms here in Ocala, but everything is moving to where they said it was going to be. But that's a good workaround if you want to do that. And if you want to get a hold of me afterwards, I can maybe explain it in more detail. But no, I'm finding that they're moving faster. They're getting things together, and they've listened. I mean, I kept waiting for them to send me the email telling me, Corey, we appreciate you helping us, but we're good. But again, I've seen progress from when I signed up in June to now. Things are getting better, and I have to tell you, by December, it should be a flawless process.
Great, really.
But I'm okay with it not being flawless at $104,000 extra a year. I mean, hey, if there's a kink here and there, that's okay by me.
Well, it doesn't look like we've got many questions coming in. Corey and Mike just did a fantastic job of going over everything. So again, our hats off to both of you. We really appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate everybody who's joined us today.
Oh, we do have one question. It
Yep.
just came up. Melissa, she says, can you walk through the process? The client would say yes to pay at close on the phone during scheduling. We choose the pay at close option in ISN. They get sent a contract. In addition to our inspection agreement, does it need to be signed prior to the start of the inspection, and can they change their mind and pay on site?
Okay, so yes, that's an interesting question. So to answer your question, okay, so they say yes, and it shows they sign, they get sent the contract, they sign our inspection agreement. No, so the pay at close does not have to be signed. They can change their mind and pay on site without having signed the pay at close documents. If they have signed it and you have chosen the pack, you can't get rid of it except by emailing, if it's after 7 p.m., which of course it would be in this case, by emailing Gigi, who today took care of it in seconds, or by doing what I'd said before, which is literally going into ISN, moving the inspection 2 days ahead, going in, removing pay at close, refreshing it, and then put it back. Once you put it back, it says this transaction had a pay at close, but it was disabled. So that's really but I have to tell you, with the way Gigi gets back, you could probably just call them and they do it right there on the phone with you. But that's easy.
And as a little,
That was one of my
have
big
an amazing
hang-ups
support
in the
team.
beginning is
as a little added
stuck.
context on that, the reason that we have a 7 p.m. cutoff is because our goal is to get you funded as soon as possible, and we're very soon moving to daily funding, and so that's the reason why there is a cutoff. But we absolutely are not trying to lock anybody into the pay at close transaction. So if someone signs up for pay at close, it's presented in the checkout process. Signing the agreement and all of those things are all presented and part of the checkout process. But if they didn't, that's not a problem. There's always a workaround for that. And then if they did and they need to change their mind, again, just like Corey's saying, that there's a process for that today, and some workarounds, and we will continue to make that process as seamless and smooth as possible as we build out additional engineering and all of those pieces to try to make that as we understand that to somebody at the end of the day, whether it's because they immediately know now they're not going to buy this house and so they don't want to continue forward with pay at close. And we have things in place for that today. But again, there's always a workaround for moving a transaction out.
And then I see Melissa had a question, which is interesting. So Melissa, I sent this to my attorney to look at because, again, I trust but verify. And the nice thing is we don't have it. No. So to answer your question, there's nothing about PAC in my inspection agreement. And the reason is because essentially nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Guardian has just simply taken on the liability. So for the customer, it doesn't really affect them because they're going to get their report. They're going to get they're going to get everything they want. I can still send them an invoice that shows they've paid. So no, my attorney said I didn't have to do anything because Guardian's language basically Guardian is basically loaning us the money and then they're collecting it. So agreement, and that you don't take my word for it. That was actually
and that's exactly right. The transaction, the customer in essence is your customer for the inspection. Your inspection agreement takes place, and then it's just payment in essence. They've signed off that we're now paying you, and they owe us, and that's really there's a clear line between those two things. And then Leanne asked an additional question. So if the transaction's not signed, it's still flowing through our process. Our team would be reaching out to that customer saying, hey, we need to get this signed and continue forward with the transaction. So there would still need to be something done if a customer has raised their hand in essence in the checkout process and said, I want to do a pay at close transaction. They entered into that process. It's now in our system and flowing through the process, which means when the inspection is done, we're going to fund you the inspector, and we would just be reaching out to that customer trying to get signatures. So yes, you would still want to contact us or remove the transaction from the process always if it's been started.
And to answer Leanne's question, Leanne, I would actually start reaching out to Guardian. Like I said, they have bulked up the number of people there, and I've seen that's been very effective. With and that way we don't have to do the workaround. So I don't know who can give Leanne Gigi Torres's information, but let me tell you what, Gigi is on it.
Yeah.
Would that just be our general support email then? Our general GPAC support? Okay, I'll type that in.
One thing to address or to mention too is that I get a lot of questions from inspectors on, well, like, you're crazy for doing pay at close because what if they don't close? That's a big question that I get. It's a very simple answer. You get paid anyways because Guardian does do all the work behind the scenes. And Ben, you could probably explain this better than I can, but essentially you guys get a credit card on file. So if they don't go to the closing table for whatever reason, you guys can charge their credit card. The inspectors have already gotten paid, and you guys do all that work to actually collect on the back end.
That's exactly right. And in the checkout process, the customer provides a backup form of payment via credit card. So it really is very seamless. If it ends up just not going to closing, we bill the credit card on file. If for whatever reason, there's a problem with the transaction, the credit card on file is there, and we just bill that transaction. And the customer is very aware of that in the process. We have pop-ups. It's in part of the agreement, everything. Yep, and as we've grown out our team, we have additional. So we've really broken our team out into specific areas. So now we have funding, general support, agent support, all of those pieces. So we're really trying to make it so that as you grow with the product, you'll know exactly where to go to get that information. And you can, if you hit our website on the GPAC page, you can find all of the different areas where you might want to get in contact with for very specific items. But you can always use that GPAC support at inspectionpayments.com and you'll get to the right spot at the end of the day.
Awesome. Any other questions? Okay. Let's see. Ben, I'll have you go over this promotion that we're doing before we end our webinar.
Yeah, so like Corey was saying, and both Corey and Mike, give it a try. We want to give you the opportunity to give it a try. And so if you use this special web FL20 code you can call in and talk to one of our agents. You can hit our website. You can email the sales@inspectionpayments.com. Any one of those things and mention that code. We'll give you 20 free pay at close transactions if you've signed up by 9/22. That's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. So, but we want to give you the opportunity to test us, see if it works for your business, and so just make sure that you've done that before 9/22, and you'll get 20 free pay at close transactions. That's a $1,500 value. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much to everybody who attended today, and a huge thank you to Corey and Mike for coming on and sharing your experiences. It's so appreciative, and I know it definitely helped our inspectors that attended today. So thank you, everybody. Again, a recording will go out of this if you need to reference anything later, as well as a follow-up email just with some highlights on what we discussed today. And we hope that everybody has a great day and great rest of their week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Yes, Melissa, you would need to switch over to Guardian. And again, I was not with Guardian. I was with someone else, but they took good care of me. And they also, I added the ACH option as well. So yeah, just give them a call and they'll, like I said, they were happy to work with me and the rates I got, and I haven't had any problems.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. Again, you'll get a follow-up email with some information on how you can touch base with us to get a Guardian account set up if you want to get onboarded with Pay and Close. It's a very simple onboarding process. So, all right, thank you
Melissa,
so much.
to your point too, Melissa, since everything is integrated with ISN, you don't have to go into the back end and switch stuff and change stuff and try to figure out if you put in the right information. They do it for you and send you an email when it's done.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks,
Take care.
everyone. Bye.
Right. Bye-bye.